In this video, I'm going to be talking about the new iPhone SE 2020, and I'm going to be talking about the internal specifications, the comparisons with the original SE, and the camera. So let's get started. When it comes to battery life, the iPhone SE lasts for 13 hours when watching videos, 8 hours when streaming videos, 40 hours when listening to audio, and only 2 minutes when listening to flat earth theories. The iPhone SE 2020 has 3 storage capacities: 256 gigabytes as the largest, 128 gigabytes as the middle ground, and 64 gigabytes, also known as Biden brain storage.
Come on, man. Come on.
Also, it is very important to notice, I didn't know this before I bought mine, but it does not have a bottom jack. So there's no, I know you can't really see that, but it has no jack to put your headphones in. You'd have to get some sort of a converter if you have headphones that you usually would plug in. I'll show you. See, if you have something like this for your headphones, in the old SE, there's a hole in the bottom and you can easily plug it in and listen to it. And I was a little disappointed, to be honest, when I saw that it doesn't have that on the bottom. See, it's like the Romeo and Juliet alternative tragic ending, but it actually happened. You just have to get one of those converters so that you can plug it in first and then do that. It's a little inconvenient, but it'll still work. Size really does matter when you're talking about phones, and when I was holding this guy around, I was glad that there wasn't a big bulge in my pants, and I was glad about that because I don't like walking around having a bunch of stuff in my pockets, and so this phone is actually thinner compared to the old one, and I really like that. It has a more sleek look to it, a less of a boxy feeling. And this feels like glass instead of metal as the original case, which is really nice. I like that. Unfortunately, it's really slippery, so you definitely want to get some sort of a silicone case like this or some sort of a thin rubber case to fit on it, because it is really slippery and you don't want that coming out of your pocket or falling on the ground. One thing I really did like about the size of this phone, however, the original SE, is I hold my phone like this because I'm a millennial. This is how old people hold their phone for some reason, but I'm this generation, so I've noticed that you can move your thumb all the way across the screen pretty easily and without any effort. However, that slightly changes with this. Now I kind of have to, it gets to that length where you kind of have to crane it, you lose balance, and you have to kind of crane your thumb over and move it up, and it's not bad. But when you have small Asian hands like I do, it can become a little cumbersome. Hey, that was a joke, okay? My hands aren't that small. Another big difference I noticed with these two, physically speaking, is the home button. So this home button, on the original one, you press down and it clicks all by itself, like the actual button clicks, but when you press this down, it feels like the whole bottom half clicks down, if that makes sense. And I think, and it won't click down. For instance, if I take my shirt here and use this and try to click it down, it will not click down, because if I try to use my shirt here, it will not click down. And then I remove it and click it. And I think that has to do with like some sort of electrical, it senses the electricity from your skin or something. I have no idea, but that's actually pretty neat, so it won't go off in your pocket when you're walking around. Another thing that I turned off immediately on this phone, because I do not like it, is something called haptics. And haptics are just little vibrations that your phone makes when you're doing stuff like texting, or when you're moving around, or when you're filing through different alarm clock times. It'll go do and vibrate in these little chunks. that's a big waste of battery, so I suggest you turn that off unless you like that feeling. I definitely don't. And finally, what kind of a monster would I be without taking you out for some test footage with this phone? Now, this camera isn't super special and it doesn't have any interesting features that other iPhones have, but it is much better than the iPhone SE original. So I'm gonna take you out right now and show you. The major difference between these two cameras is that the iPhone SE 2020 has portrait mode. Not only does it have portrait mode, but you can set the levels of background blur. This photo was shot at f/16. This photo was shot at 2.8, which is the middle ground, and then this photo was shot with f/1.4. So those different focal lengths gives you different levels of intensity of background blur. Now, unfortunately, you can't use background blur with objects. It needs a human face in order to activate the background blur. So you can't take photos of objects. Although, you just saw photos of me, so of course you can. No, you can't.
I'm just gonna be twirling around this fire staff here because, you know, I'm cooler than you.
So there are two slow motion options. One is 120 frames per second, and the other is 240 frames per second. And one of them just offers more frame rates than the other. I hope you figured that out by yourself. Coming from somebody who used the original SE ever since it came out, which is like 5 years ago, I would say that this is a major upgrade. I love the feel. It's not too big. The camera's much better. The screen is bigger. It's thinner. It's sleeker. It's better, and it's just faster. It has the A13 chip, because you're supposed to know what that is. So if you're still lugging around the original SE and you don't have the new one yet, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just get it.